Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury and Bulldog Nation, I think March Madness isn't just happening on the basketball court. It's happening in politics. Lots to cover on this Monday, as I always do on Monday. And I want to begin with Joe Biden's fall, walking up to get on his airplane, Air Force One. Now, he stumbled once, then he stumbled again, and they said it was because of the wind. Folks, as you notice him walking across the tarmac and walking up, did you see Joe Biden any time, be affected by the wind? Hell no. I like Don Trump Jr.'s little comment that it was a slight gale. That's pretty funny. But just think, Gerald Ford tripping and falling was a bad look. Joe Biden having dementia and falling going up to get on the airplane makes him look very weak. These images matter, folks. They do. Images matter. In history, in recent history especially, a photograph or a video of a scene, one scene, makes all the difference in the world. And now our enemies have Joe Biden falling down trying to get on an airplane. Immigrants to Montana. Hear about this plan? Now just think about this. Biden allows all these people to come into this country illegally, and then they want to fly them to northern states? I mean, it's unconscionable. If you are a northern state, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, and they just dump these people in your community, what the hell? I mean, it's unconscionable. Who can sit in that chair like I've been challenging and say, well, Bulldog, that's just too bad? It's wrong. And speaking of that, 15,000 illegal migrant children coming here. That's just the kids, 15,000. Automatically, our country's going to pick up the tab for everything for those kids. I saw the DHS secretary on Chris Wallace on Fox News last night late. Last thing I saw before I went to sleep at 3:30. And I'm telling you right now, this guy is unbelievable. He can look in that screen and just lie, talk about, oh, well, we're going to take care of the children. We're going to take care of the children that come here. $86 million. Biden administration wants to spend $86 million housing illegal immigrants in hotels. I mean, where's that money come from? You and me. Do you support that policy? Did you vote for that policy? Hell no, you didn't. $86 million to house them. That's just to house them. Did you hear about this? There was one illegal immigrant that spoke on the record, so to speak, and he said, we're all coming to the United States. Everybody knows that it's open borders, and they're going to keep on coming as long as Joe Biden's president. With a smile on his face. Christmas has come early to our southern border friends. Something that they're doing is catch and release, not even giving court dates. They're so overwhelmed. Catch and release is supposed to be for fish, not human beings. You stop these illegal immigrants and then you just let them go into the United States without a court date, no record of where the hell they're going? Again, it's unconscionable. We talk about the drugs that are coming in, the drug cartels. How about child trafficking? You're not going to tell me that this is a boom for child trafficking. The Democrats are the party of crime, they're the party of socialism, and they're the party of Epstein, Weinstein, Bill Clinton and company, and they're also the party of child trafficking, obviously. How does this not increase child trafficking? It has to. No media access. Mr. Transparency. Cutting off all media from observing and watching what's going on here. By the way, Biden also said, I'll get down there sometime. I know what's going on. In his non-crisis on the border. Not letting the media. I wonder how many in the AB alphabet media are going to report about their being restricted from reporting and covering what's going on. Can you imagine what some of the video coming out of these places are? Governor of Abbott of Texas, some of these places do not have fresh drinking water. Big problem. Last but not least, they're all saying this is Trump's fault. Now just think about this. Trump had the border under control. ICE were doing their job. The immigrants weren't coming because they knew Trump wasn't going to let them do it. He was shipping people back. He said, do not come. You're not going to be let in. He's building the wall. Everything's under control. And now they've got the nerve. Remember I talked about shameless? They will lie. They will say anything with the support, full support of the media. They're blaming Trump for what's going on. How many of you are going to buy that? Trump's own platform. He's finally coming back. It was announced. Stephen Miller announced that he's going to build his own platform, have his own platform in 2 or 3 months. How awesome will that be? That Trump will not be able to get shut down again. Can you imagine now instantly all Trump supporters like yours truly will all go immediately to that platform? How awesome would it be that Trump won't have to be concerned about being shut down? At least I hope. I'm assuming what they're going to assemble won't let that happen. Joe Biden, his hypocrisy knows no bounds. Kamala Harris has admitted smoking pot and enjoying it, but a bunch of aides had to be fired because of their prior pot use. Yet at the same time, he's for decriminalizing pot smoking. These are the biggest hypocrites in the history of politics, folks. Stacey Abrams, funny thought. Apparently, when he was down in Georgia, he stopped to see Stacey Abrams. And you know what that conversation was? Stacey, you did such a good job of stealing Georgia for us. Can you help us steal the rest of the states? You know that's what the conversation was. What are you doing down here, Stacey? What can we duplicate in other states? Operation Warp Speed. True story. Biden is coming out there and saying, we're doing this, and we're doing this, we're doing this. Well, it turns out 90% of everything Biden's doing is exactly what Trump was doing and Trump had planned. And Biden acts like he takes over January 20th and he's got all this stuff going in. It's a bunch of bullshit. Just more shameless words coming out of the president's mouth. Psaki, the redheaded spokesperson, you know what she said? I mean, do you think she ever took a course on economics? Probably not. If she did, she must not have paid attention. She said that the tax increases that Biden is planning will not cause these companies to increase their prices. What is she smoking? She's obviously smoking some pot. How about this judge? This judge made a ruling that he believes democracy itself is in jeopardy based upon the liberal print media are like broadsheets for the Democratic Party. Those are the big campaign mailers that people, they used to be called broadsheets. Newspapers were called broadsheets, the big newspapers. They're just broadsheets for the Democratic Party. And democracy itself is at stake. Good for that judge, and he's right. Arizona, they say they're going to recount 2.1 million votes. You know what? This is wishful thinking on my part, but wouldn't it be fun that there were recounts in states and it showed that Biden lost? Wouldn't that be hysterical? And at the Electoral College post-election, Trump really won. That would be funny. China and Alaska. Did you hear about this? They were supposed to each speak opening remarks for 2 or 3 minutes. China went on like a 15-minute rampage. And you know what they said? They said, we are tired of you talking about our human rights issues when you admit in the United States you have your own human rights and race issues. Boomerang City. Think about that. All our enemies get to throw what they're cooking, the liberal Democrats, in our face. And by the way, these human rights things that they talk about and always use, you know what? I'm being very candid here, folks. From the United States standpoint, I'm concerned about America first. our economic rights, our economic freedom, our situation. We can't control what China's doing, mistreating their citizens. Let's worry about our citizens. But here we got it thrown in our face from Beijing that, well, you've already admitted you've got problems. And what do the American representatives have to say? Well, yeah, we admit that we have to do better. Well, how weak is that? They didn't think about that one today. Also, $200 billion in unemployment fraud. All this unemployment being paid out of COVID, everything. $200 billion. You know what, folks? Somewhere, someplace, there are some filthy, rich gangsters that don't rob banks and don't sell drugs. They just push paper and commit crimes and massive fraud and get away with it. Just think about that. There's billionaires out there who are paper pushers, don't commit any crimes, never get caught. They're living large. That's off the chart, isn't it? $200 billion. That's 1/5 of a trillion, folks. Fraud and unemployment. In other words, money that should have never gone out. Our country throws money away just left and right. Now I'm going to get to some fun stuff. Fauci, hear about this? Fauci, pursuant to Simon & Schuster's statement, they're going to do a children's book starring Dr. Fauci. Can you imagine the vomit worth that's going to be? Fauci, a hero to these little kids reading about how great, wonderful Fauci is. The indoctrination, they start him young. Trump wax figure in a museum had to be moved. You know why? These liberal whack jobs were punching him in the face. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if we did that to Obama's statue? We'd be white supremacists. But you're allowed to punch the Trump statue in the face. NCAA tournament. Have you been watching it? I haven't watched jack. I haven't watched one full game. I've watched a few clips and that's it. I don't care. A lot of upsets. This is a weird year. Think about that. No UK, no Louisville, no Duke, no UC, no Xavier. Who wants to watch that around here? Not me. Speaking of sports and race in the NCAA tournament, the entire Georgetown team kneeled, including Patrick Ewing, and other teams kneeled. Some players stood. I don't know who's talking to these players, but I'm telling you, the ratings are down, and it's, you know what? It's going to even go down further. The disconnect between these people who are kneeling and their fan base defies all logic. And what's funny about it is, and sad about it is, it's the blacks who are increasing the problem by what they're doing. They're not mending fences. They're not bringing anybody together. They're just creating more racism, more issues. Kylie Jenner, I don't talk about pop culture too much, but this young girl is apparently a billionaire, and her makeup artist got hurt, needed some work. And she encourages people to donate to a GoFundMe page, and she donates $5,000. Folks, this is why I never gave any money to Trump. I'm being serious. Trump and his kids got plenty of money. I'm not going to donate money to him. Am I going to support him? Sure. But I'm not going to give him money. Why do people give money to the Clintons? Why do people give money to Kylie Jenner's makeup artist? Why doesn't Kylie Jenner take care of him? It'd be like me asking for money, a GoFundMe page for one of my kids. People are going to say, Bulldog, take care of your own kids. I couldn't do that. I mean, it's crazy. A billionaire asking you to donate money to a GoFundMe page for somebody she should be taking care of. Monopoly. Monopoly is now woke. They're changing. Instead of the bank, it's going to be a community project. Monopoly. Even Monopoly gets woke. Two final stories that are fun. You know the best, happiest place to live in the world now? I still think it's the United States, despite all our woes, is apparently Finland. I wouldn't mind going to Finland. I want to go to all the Scandinavian countries. It's on my bucket list. I'll get there. But Finland's the happiest place in the world. And last but not least, UFOs. There's going to be a report on June 1st, military confirmation and spotting, supersonic speed aircraft that aren't causing supersonic booms, and they can't explain the technology. Folks, extraterrestrial life exists. We used to always think it was crazy, the joke, does it or doesn't it not? I think it's pretty clear now that it does. And I don't know about you, but it scares the hell out of me. I mean, let's face it, we grew up watching these movies where the extraterrestrials came and took over the world. We had to battle for our very existence. That one day could come. China, Russia, the United States join together fighting whatever the hell they got. It's kind of scary. Just think about that. All those movies that we watched that were science fiction could happen. Scary, scary, scary. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Have a great week.